My family is boring. We did nothing special. These were my thoughts when I got this assignment. I was scared because I didn't know what I would present to my peers. But despite of that, I sat down one night with my parents and started discussing our family history. Our chat ran past midnight, and I discovered incredible things my family achieved. I realized then that my family wasn't boring, that my family was incredible. My name is Nareshri, and this is my journey to Canada. This is my place in Canadian history. Tracing one's history can prove to be very difficult, but for me, it was just a phone call away. My uncle is a writer, and his hobby is to trace our family history to as far as he can. With his help, I found out tons of great information about my family. My story starts in the 13th century in India, more specifically in Mahikavati, present-day Mahim. Mahikavati was one of the 7 islands that would merge together to make Mumbai, a major city in India. The 13th century, the medieval times, the time where kings and queens ruled the kingdoms. This was the time where the great king Bhimdev Banavali reigned over Mahikavati. King Bhimdev is said to be my ancestor. Don't believe me? Google it. Raja Bhimdev established his palace and built the Babulnath temple in his kingdom. Along with him, he brought many of his followers who belonged to a wide range of castes such as Agars and Brahmins. Raja Bhimdev is to have said to be originated from Gujarat region or from the dynasty of Yadavs in Deogari. The thing that caught my attention here is that my ancestor could have originated from the Yadav clan. What's so interesting about that is that I'm a Hindu and I believe in Lord Krishna, who was in fact from the Yadav clan. If my ancestors related to the Yadavs, then that could possibly mean that I am a descendant of the great Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna assisted in the great war that was fought on the Kurukshetra, the land that still exists today in the state of Haryana, India. My mind was blown right there. But then I ask, why aren't we all rich and kingly? This is due to the Mughal rule. The Mughals overthrew Raja Bhimdev and ruled the land until the Portuguese took over and eventually gifted the land to England as dowry. What happened to Raja Bhimdev? Well, no one really knows, but according to my research, the king had a daughter who married a king with a smaller kingdom. Raja Bhimdev is traced to my dad's side. The 1500s, the peak time of Mughal rule. The Mughals took pride in their arts and paintings. One of my mother's ancestors was a royal painter and painted paintings of the king in the present-day Karachi. This is a painting made from my ancestor. From the stories passed through my mom's family, it is said that the painter got some feature of the king rung and as a result was fired. So now, let's fast forward to the 1600s, the starting phase of the British Raj. In the 1600s, the British East India Company started trading posts throughout India and slowly started taking over India. Near the 1720s, the Mughal rule started collapsing due to the British. The British East India Company established an army to overthrow the Mughals. The army consisted of British troops and soldiers called sepoys. Sepoys were Indian men serving the British in the army. The British Raj lasted for about 300 years, from 1600s to the 1947. As I was tracing my family history, I saw something that made me laugh. When my dad's grandfather, Dheeraj, was 27 in 1917, he participated in a rebellion group against the British. Now what's funny here is that my mom's grandpa, Kanchan Lal, was a sepoy at the same time. Kanchan Lal was serving the British while my dad's grandpa, Dheeraj, was fighting against them. My dad and my mom both have parents and grandparents who have lived under the British control. Dheeraj, born 1890, and Kundan, born 1896, gave birth to 6 children, one of which died at birth. One of them is Divya, born 1927, my grandma. Gopal and Champa gave birth to Whittle Das, born in 1920. Whittle and Divya gave birth to 3 children, including my father, born in 1962. On my mom's side, Kanchan and Dhansukh gave birth to my grandfather Pravin in 1938. I was surprised to find out that my great-great-grandfather was a renowned lawyer. Leelavati and Ramlal gave birth to my grandma Aruna in 1942. Aruna and Pravin gave birth to 4 children, Rashesh, Sudha, Bhairavi, and my mother Ulupi, born 1965. Ulupi and Milan gave birth to me and my sister. That is my family tree, for now. Moving on. Both of my grandparents got to witness India gaining independence. Due to the Indian Independence Act 1947, India gained freedom from British and got divided into 2 independent countries. The partition of India sparked many fights between India and Pakistan. My mom's dad's parents used to live in the part of India that is now Pakistan. Because of the violence, they had to move to Gujarat. This was one of the major push factors. They made their way to Kutch from Karachi, and then later, they moved to Ahmedabad. This is Kashmir. Beautiful, right? Look at those mountains. Because of its beauty, both nations wanted this jewel in their crowns. Now starts the Indo-Pakistani War over Kashmir. The war starts in 1947 and ends in 1949. Because of this war, there was more violence and many deaths. The UN eventually stepped in. The United Nations consists of 50 major countries, including Canada, formed in 1945. The UN ended the war in 1949. On my dad's side, we used to own many large pieces of land. But in the 1950s, a new law was introduced. Basically, this act took away the land from the rich and either claimed it as the government's or gave it to the workers that worked there. Due to this act, we lost many of our land. Now we're left with one mansion in Gujarat. My grandfather sold the half, and the other half is in use when we visit during vacations. I wonder sometimes if this law is a reason why my grandfather changed our last name from Desai to Babu, because the word Desai is given to landowners. Soon after this event, my father's parents moved to Mumbai as there was a lack of jobs in Gujarat at the time. My grandpa got a job as an accountant for a textile mill. And soon after, my parents got married. Let's fast forward to the 1990s when my older sister Ruchi is born, and 8 years later, a wonderful angel from heaven took birth on earth on 1998, me. And on December 19, 2006, my family of 4 arrived to Canada. So why did we move here? Were there any push factors? Not really, but there were lots of pull factors. My dad was offered a job in research and development in pharmaceutical industry. He was also drawn to Canada, so me and my sister received better education. My dad knew about the Canada Health Act made in 1984 that gave citizens free healthcare. Also, the Constitution Act of 1982 stated in the Charter of Rights and Freedom that Canada is a multicultural society and accepts all religion, including mine. Those were all the gifts Canada gave us. Those were our pull factors. My family came here by the point system. The point system made in 1967 was recently changed in 2002 and now looks like this. Of course, we had a couple of issues when we were settling in. What were they? One of them was finding stores and schools and roads, etc. We also needed to buy a car, but we were unsure how the car would react to the snow. Me and my sister had to adapt to new education curriculum, but we eventually got used to it. And everything was perfect again. So this was my journey through time. From Mahim to Mumbai, to Karachi, to Kutch, to Gujarat, to Mumbai, and finally to Ontario, Canada. This is how my family ended up in Canada. This is my place in Canadian history.